Welcome to Under the Spotlight. I'm Carmela Sterling, and today is an extra special day. This guest today touched down in my life several years ago, and I never forgot the moment in time where she helped me through saying a prayer. Tell you more about that story shortly. She's a magnificent person who has a full plate and continues to do more. We're going to figure out how all of us can be more like that with such a joyful spirit. I want to thank our sponsor for season 3, which has just been a blast. We've had so many amazing stories shared on the show. It's Happy Coffee. It literally makes all natural, makes you feel the best you possibly can. Aren't we all after that? So cheers to season 3 and everything that's going on here to make this happen, including having such a wonderful sponsor who's been with us now for actually the past two seasons. So this has been fun. Every week we come up, go live, have a conversation with someone who's inspiring. And we're hearing from viewers who are listening on podcasts. We're available on all podcast platforms. And those of you who are watching on YouTube and on Facebook and other social media, that you love seeing the pictures, you love hearing more about the actual person, because many times, let's say that it's someone you're dealing with in business, you know them on that platform only, and you maybe get to know them a little bit. But here we're getting to know them in a deeper, much more meaningful way. And they've said things along the way that have had impact on you. That makes us happy because that's why we do this. Well, this lady today likes to dream big. She likes to have impact. She likes to go to it and do a collaborative, effective way of planning and strategizing and collaborating and building people up. And she has had multiple successes in many different realms. Her work has gone from being Mrs. Minnesota to being on television shopping. She's a realtor, and now she's with a company that I really love and has spent a lot of time in the football world, which we'll talk about. But she's with a company now that has impact on others. It's called Matter. We'll tell you more about that. Let's introduce our amazing friend, my very special friend, Tami. Good morning. Welcome into Under the Spotlight. So happy you're here this morning with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I wish I was in person so I could give you a big hug, but I will save that for next time.
That would be great. I would love that very much. Wow, it's been too long since I've seen you. And I was telling everyone earlier as well that your impact on me was many different things, but that moment in time, do you remember it? Do you remember the moment in time? You said, well, let's pray over it, whatever I was going through.
Yes. We were about to go on air together. You were one of my favorite people to be on that home shopping channel with. And you had a hard day. And it just was a great opportunity to say, come on, my friend, let's pray about it. And then go on air and have some fun together.
I never understood that, but I never had anyone do that. It brought me to tears. I'm like, wow, pray over someone. Have you always been in your faith as a girl, or is this just...
It was something that my dad was in the military. We moved. I went to 14 different schools growing up. And every time we moved, he would find us a church and he would find me a dance studio so that I could continue to dance and that I could continue to explore my faith. And it's funny, I really don't remember ever not believing in God. So I feel really blessed that way because I feel like it was something that, the Holy Spirit came inside of me early at a young age. And I've always been a believer that I can remember. I'm sure there was some moment, and that's not how it is for everybody. That just is how it was for me. And so at different times, of course, it has been stronger than others, but I remember that moment that we had together.
And you carry that with you through your different positions. I was looking on LinkedIn and looking at your Facebook, and I'm like, wow, she's a national development director at Matter, which I'm super excited to talk about. You're a real estate agent at the Property Geeks. You were former director of Vikings Women's Strategic Development and Cheerleading at Minnesota Vikings, a VP of Marketing and Special Events at Just for Kicks, and television shopping host at Shop HQ. You've had experience and success in all those realms, and they're all very different. What would you say carries you through all of them in addition to your faith? What's the one thing that we all should have to help us pivot?
Yeah, I think a willingness to say yes. To look at the doors that are open in front of us instead of the windows that are closed. Look at the doors that are open, I say, and then try to take a couple steps forward and say, is this for me? And during COVID, I finally had the chance to get my real estate license. I was home. I wanted that opportunity all my life, but I had no idea when that would fit in or when it would make sense. And I just thought, now's the time. Let's do it. Didn't make sense. but there's a door that's open, and you go into that, and you move forward. Now, it's not my full-time career. It is something I'm doing part-time, but still successful with that, and able to, have something that's inspiring for me that I can dabble in over here and help people. And that's really, for me, if it's something that's going to help people, it's usually let me take a step forward. And that's in all different areas of my life.
That's always been your mindset, to help
Mhm.
other people. Like everything I've noticed that you've done has always been collaborative.
Yeah.
Yes?
I love to work with people. I love to work with a team. I love to have collaboration. No one person can do it all. And when you surround yourself with great people, you can accomplish so much more, and it's way more fun.
Do you have a system for that? Like we can say, okay, I've got a moral code. Do you have a system for that? Like whether it's you're in television shopping or real estate or with matters or wherever you are, is there a system in your head that has to have these checkpoints, or I need these to move forward? Like, because you are a strategist and
Yeah.
you've had great success. Do you have anything like that that we can borrow?
Yeah. I think listening to your intuition is important, because there is something to that. We have the spirit in us that's guiding us and giving us nudges. I think that also having your own core values, they're going to be different for every single person. For me, faith, family, definitely helping people. Those are going to be things at the top of my values. And if things align with those, I'm gonna pursue them harder. And then also, as I was mentioning, surrounding yourself with good people, they have to have similar values. They don't have to be exactly the same, because you want to have diversity of thought. They have to be similar. If they're not somebody who is for others, you're going to have a clash in those collaborations. They need to be like-minded, if that's the type of person you are. Or if you are an entrepreneur and you're revenue generated focused, they have to be somebody that's in line with that type of spirit too. So assessing
Ooh,
what are your values, and then making sure you're surrounding yourself with people that are similar.
I love that. You tend to like startup projects, but let me go here first. Peter, would you mind showing the picture of Tami as Mrs. Minnesota? You were Mrs. Minnesota. You wore this fabulous crown, which is, I love this picture of you.
Thank
That's a
you.
very special time and a
Yeah.
really special honor, isn't it?
It is. And it's a funny story, because for me, I had had my first son about 2 years before this competition. And I just wanted to get on stage and get back into a bathing suit and feel good about myself. And I thought, if I have to go on stage in a swimsuit, I will get to the gym. And so that was my original inspiration. But, similar to so many things in life, you have your own stereotype and perception of what will come from something. And that experience obviously opened my network of women across the nation. In this particular pageant, I was Mrs. Minnesota America, got to go to Mrs. America. It was my
Ooh,
first experience on television. It was nationally televised and from Hawaii. And so, seeds were planted because of that experience. And I went on to judge at Mrs. Georgia America, where I met Mary Beth Rowe, who was on QVC. And I had my son that I was late night watching home shopping, and thought, someday I'm going to do that. That's going to be me. And so it was like all these little things just came out of that one choice, where you think you're going after for one thing, and being able to be observant around you and say, what else is there for me in
that's
this?
amazing. Were you, so there's a picture of us together on the TV on the set at Shop
Yes.
HQ. We'll bring that up. And then there's a picture of you. It's actually, Peter, it's the Viking women, just the template Viking. So did you manifest these things watching TV and saying, ooh, sometimes are they visions, or do you manifest? What do you think?
I think that I dream big. I think you open to the show that way. I think I dream big, and I will have thoughts in the back of my mind, like that experience where I was like, someday I'm going to be that lady. I had no idea if and how that would ever potentially happen, but that was a desire of my heart, just tucked in the back. And then things happened, and I think that came from blessings of God. I was a cheerleader for the Minnesota Vikings back in 1997, many, many years ago. And I was a dance major at the University of Minnesota. I had these contracts to travel around the world in dance companies, but I really loved coaching, and I really loved teaching. Again, going back to helping people, I loved that. And so I was like, how do I stay here so I can keep coaching and dancing and performing and combine my worlds? Became a Vikings cheerleader for a year. The next year, the director asked me to take over the program, and I ended up coaching for over 2 decades and being a part of the organization that way. I didn't manifest it, but I knew I wanted to be in dance and I wanted to help people and I loved coaching. And yeah, so I
Wow.
wish
Okay.
I was thoughtful enough to say I truly manifested it myself, but I don't think it was all in my own head.
For putting this thread together as viewers and listening to you, the inspiration is Dad put you in dance programs every time you moved, right? That was the foundation. It was something you really loved, sort of in your DNA anyway. So you honed your skills, and then you took those skills and applied them. Cheerleading, I'm sure that was, incredible. Is that the picture with Bud Grant, by the way?
It is.
Oh, they just honored him again, which was so amazing.
Yes, I was at the stadium for that honoring, and such a great person and family and coach and inspiring words. And even I was at that game and they were talking about the starting lineup and honoring the national anthem. And it brought tears to my eyes, just the way he spoke about, honoring our flag and honoring our country and having such personal respect. It was beautiful. Yeah.
So working with the cheerleaders, teaching that, what did you actually do in working with the cheerleaders? Were you teaching the dance, the choreography?
So in the beginning, when I started, I thought I was going to be teaching dance and choreographing halftime shows and that. But really, it became more about being an advocate for the women, being a life coach to them, being a liaison from the corporate organization to the cheerleaders, connecting our alumni sisterhood. It really became much more than I ever anticipated. And I feel like I got an on-the-job MBA during that time. Learning how to budget and how to market and how to recruit, all of the things that you would have to do in lead. So I feel like I got to lead an organization within the organization through that experience.
And being in this world of football, which we absolutely love in this household, you've met some amazing people, as you mentioned, Bud Grant, and the players as well.
Yeah.
That has
and for Vikings women, I got to meet a lot of the players and coaches' wives and get to see the difficult life that they have, because they're under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. They have to oftentimes move different towns, relocate their kids to schools, off-season training, families on the road. And so it was an honor to meet them and to get to experience their lives and help them in a small way while they were in Minnesota and part of the organization there.
Wow. Just completely wow. Your children grew up with you working in this. So do they love sports? I know your oldest. Is he playing football or other?
My youngest boy, who looks like my oldest boy, is playing right now for Lakeville North High School. Go North or none. And yes, there he is. And he's a tight end and he loves football and he's doing great. It's been really fun to share that experience with him. But all my kids are like athletes and academics and artists, and they just have their own creative juices. Yep, there's my boys. My son Clay graduated last year. He was captain of the wrestling team, went to state. Doriana right there is my youngest, and she is a dancer, which has been really fun to share that passion with her. And it's pretty exciting. Yeah, you can see she's even got some awards. Last year she went to nationals and made top 5 in dance. So
what is it?
I love my kids so much. I could talk about them all day. So beware.
No, it's great. And we have them up there because they are an inspiration. You can see they're just really from you, like her love of dance, all the awards. Like I saw that picture. I was telling Tami, first time I saw that picture on Facebook, I'm like, oh my gosh, all the awards. Oh my gosh, she's growing up so much. Didn't know what to look at. There was so much. How many awards this child has won. And then your son with that hair. I just love his look. The boys look super strong, but she looks like she could put up with them. I love that picture of the 3 of them together. What is it as a woman do we need to know that has been a part of raising them that keeps them engaged without pushing them too far? How do you find that balance?
Realizing that the world sets a lot of expectations on our kids. And so we have to be in tune to what are they being fed, whether it's social media or friends or whatever, wherever they're getting that from. But also not being afraid to set the expectation high, because I feel like we are rightfully so sensitive to all that our kids are dealing with, but we also get to look at them, each one individually. They all have a different skill set. They all have a different capacity. They all have different response, but finding out what their best is and really encouraging them to reach their best potential. And sometimes you feel like loving them is kind of letting them like get away with stuff. And sometimes it is because they need that. We all have bad days, or we have a hard moment, or we have a hard season. But it also is you have to be able to push them to become their best potential. And I feel like that's one of my favorite things to see and do in life in all areas is if I'm leading a team, if I'm leading in my family, if I'm, just having a conversation with my friends, like, you got this, you can go for it. I want them to feel like they can become their best. And how can I help to push them to do that?
This is your superpower right here. And I've seen it. I've personally experienced it. What you do is you see not what you think I have, but what you see in me. That's what you've done with your children. I see you can do this. You have it in you. You just don't know it. I'm telling you, I can see it. You're not saying to the kids, I want you to do this for me. You're going to grow up and be mommy, this, that, or other. That is a superpower right there, because as a parent, that's a fine line. Oh, I know you should grow up and be this or this. I think you should. It's what do they have? What are the skills, the talents? What do they have innately that you can shine the light on, that they finally see and then take that step? That's really a superpower. I love that.
You can never tell them I love you too much. I jokingly, and I didn't make this up. I stole this from another amazing woman, but when my kids leave in the morning, I say, don't be afraid to be awesome. And some of them say, I won't, or I will. And others are like, okay, depending on the day. But I also every single day try to tell my kids, I love you. I love you so much. They can't hear it enough. So
you're a blended family. That's even more love. And your wonderful husband. You guys look like genuinely loving, living in real time. Life is busy. You're busy.
It's full, and sometimes it's hard, and sometimes it's wonderful. And we really get to experience the full level of life together. We got married, and soon into our marriage, my son had a major car accident. That was a challenge to encounter while you're trying to blend a family. I've had some career changes. He's a police officer. That industry was challenging for a season. We had COVID. We have 7 kids, and they're all, going from elementary to middle school, and middle school to high school, and high school to college, and having major life transitions. So we've experienced a lot together, and I think our deep love makes it so that even the hard days are good days.
I love that. Any tips on downtime or self-care that you lean on most?
I'm interested to learn more about this. Just kidding. Do tell me more.
Yeah, what is that? What is that? Like,
what? I will say it is something that I do. That is my challenge. Is I love to prioritize all the things and everybody around me. So sometimes finding the time for myself is a challenge, but I am extremely aware of it. I'm going to be 50 this year. Christmas Eve is my birthday, and I'll be 50 years old this year. And as that number is coming, and I'm aware of that number, for some reason, it really has inspired me to start thinking, whoa, you may be well over half into your life. You need to start to pay attention a little more to yourself, take a little more time for yourself, take a little more self-care. So
you'll find that. But what you do that's so great, and this is like it, and when you're 100 years old or whatever, you'll look back and say, I'm glad I poured myself into everything. And the one you're pouring yourself into now is called, is it Matter or Matters?
Matter. Matter. Yes, Matter. We're a global NGO, so we're a global nonprofit. We're headquartered out of the Twin Cities. We do a lot of work overseas. My role was to expand our healthy food program across the country, which I did the last 2 years. We got everywhere except for Alaska. Darn it. So I'm working on Alaska now. And we were able to bring our Matterbox healthy food program across the country. I also work with some of our professional athletes. Matter is their purpose agency. And so they come to us to help partner with them to do a project that they have a vision for, but maybe don't have the experience in. I was in Senegal, Africa last August, helping at the groundbreaking of a hospital there for one of our athletes that wants to give a hospital back to his hometown there, and getting to see the community and the impact that was bringing was life-changing. And so I'm excited because I'm going to Zimbabwe in November this year, early November, so I can see on the ground a lot of the projects that we're doing there in agriculture, in hospitals, in clinics, in technology education. We're teaching kids how to do computer coding. So we're doing so many wonderful things that improve communities. And it's cool because after working in the NFL and and seeing the impact that a platform can have, you kind of think, oh gosh, will I ever do something else that will be as impactful? And now this is like, yeah, it's really special.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. It's almost like
another level.
God is laying out the red carpet. Here's the next step. Here's the next step. Here's the next step. So people like the NFL, the athletes, they want to give back, so they can come to you, and you find a place where they can have a significant life outside of what they're
Yeah,
doing.
most of them already have a vision of what they want to do. They just don't know how to do it. And
Yeah.
we've been in business for, almost 20 years now, that they have that experience on the ground to make that impact.
Tami, this is huge. How many of us, it's in our daily prayer, Lord, give me a life of significance. Let me live a life of significance. Can anyone come to you? Can we connect with you? It
Yes.
matters.
Yes.
And
So our message is you matter, and we believe your ideas and actions can change the world. And so if you find us online at matter.ngo, you can find my contact information there. You can reach out directly. We can see how would it be best for you? How can you improve the community? Is it volunteering? Is it making a donation? Is it traveling with us to Zimbabwe? We take impact trips each year. There's so many different ways that you can get engaged and learn more about Matter. And just visit our website and check it out.
man, that's it right there. How many watching right now? Let us know, ladies and gentlemen. You have thought of that. What can I do with my extra time? What can I do with these ideas I have? What can I do with the money that I have? What can I do with just being me? How can I make someone else in their life even better? And
Mm-hmm.
a good, safe, directive place. And I love that about you, that I can trust you. You've done it before. You're very visible. People can see what you're doing. And we want to give. We just want to know that we can step into whatever it is that we want to do, and do this right, and do it with love. I'm so whooped up right now. Where am I going again? Matter what?
Matter.ngo, like Nancy George Octopus.
NGO. We're all going there. We connect with you there. You can also connect with Tami via all social media. Is it Tami Hedrick on all social media, or something
Yes.
else, ma'am?
Yep, Tami Hedrick on my social media, or you can also find me at Your Success with Tami, Tami.
You have one more piece, and I know we're watching time to let you go here with this busy life you have. What's the other piece you're working on? Something about sending daily messages or messages? What was that we got into before the show?
Yeah, it's fun because similarly, out of COVID, I feel like I started to craft a message that I had. I used to do a lot of public speaking around coaching because I was coaching teams, and how do you build teams, and how do you create a culture within your organization for that team. And a leadership message came out of me that now I've been excited to be able to bring to some local groups, some women's associations, some chamber of commerce, and share that little piece of information as well. And really, it takes my 30 years in corporate America and takes little stories and nuggets out of what to do, what not to do, and what you can do. And so teaching, leading, and coaching, and using those things to become the best leader that you can, whether it's leading yourself, leading your family, or leading a team in an organization.
And that all works, right? You're right. Family, business, outside of that, just inside of your whole world. Wow, you are amazing. And I'm just completely wowed. Cannot wait to hear from everyone that's watching today. We're grateful for you. Thank you for being our featured guest on Under the Spotlight today. It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you. And I'm so thrilled. Your Under the Spotlight has been such a huge success. I've been watching from afar and seeing all that you're doing and all the amazing guests that you've had on. And so I was honored that you reached out and asked me. Thank you for the opportunity. And I miss you, good friend. So I can't wait to see you soon.
Miss you too. We'll definitely do that. Safe travels. Thank you, Tami Hedrick, for being here today. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and Tami, if you just hang out a second, Peter wants to visit with you right after.
Absolutely.
We drop you off camera here. Thank you so much for being a part of our day. That is amazing. All that she's talking about, all that she's doing, it's wow, but it's doable for us too, right? Was there something in there you heard? Do you want to connect with her? You're like, oh, I want to connect because there's something here for everyone. And Tami really is like this big, bright light filled with all these opportunities for us, and you can just be you. How about that? I love that. This has been amazing. Thank you, Peter, for producing today. Thank you, sponsor, for getting me all jacked up on the coffee. And thank you, Tami Hedrick, for really inspiring all of us today under the spotlight. See you next time.